excited to be here. Graham, I appreciate everybody welcoming me so warmly this morning, and I'd be happy to take your questions.
Sure.
Well, my concern about the loss of jobs to trade and global competition led me to join forces with Senator Lindsey Graham to start the Manufacturing Caucus in the Senate. He was obviously deeply concerned about the loss of textile jobs from the Carolinas. I was concerned about the loss of other kinds of industrial and factory jobs from upstate New York and the upper Midwest. But we both found common cause, and he did this about 5-6 years ago now, so this is not a new issue to me. I have said very clearly that we need a new trade policy in America. I'm the only candidate with a comprehensive plan to fix NAFTA. I've said I would renegotiate NAFTA. We would include labor and environmental standards in the core agreement, new enforcement mechanisms, because what good is an agreement if it's not enforced? I've called for the creation of a trade prosecutor to actually be the person in our government to bring these trade enforcement actions. I think it's also important, though, to look at the competition we get beyond Mexico, because, of course, NAFTA only covers Mexico and Canada. Much of the competition today is from the rest of the world, and we need to get tough on China. China manipulates its currency. They don't follow the rules. They engage in wholesale industrial espionage and permit the theft of intellectual property. So I will stand up and make it very clear that we wish to trade. We believe our workers are the most productive in the world, but we're no longer going to sit idly by and see our workers and, frankly, our consumers taken advantage of. Because our jobs go to China, and they send us lead-laced toys and contaminated pet food and polluted pharmaceuticals. That's not a good deal for America. Well, I have said that that was a personal decision of his. I answered one question about it that made it clear I would not have stayed in that church under those circumstances. But I regret the efforts by the Republicans to politicize this matter, and I believe that if Senator McCain were serious, he would do more than send a letter. He is the putative nominee. I think he could very clearly tell the North Carolina party, tell the Mississippi party, that he would not tolerate those kinds of advertisements, and I'm waiting to see whether he does that. Well, I like the way you asked the question because it implies exactly the kind of balance that we're going to have to strike. Look, I believe in enforcement. I have voted for enforcement. I have voted for more personnel on the border, more technology on the border, even where appropriate, a physical barrier in limited circumstances. So I believe in enforcement. I don't think you can restore confidence in our country, in our immigration system, if people don't believe that we're enforcing our laws and maintaining secure borders. And I take it very personally because it's not only people who come across our borders illegally. 40% of the people who are here illegally came legally and did not leave. What does that mean? Well, it means, for example, that the hijackers who committed that horrific attack on New York City and the Pentagon came here legally. We lost track of them. They took flying lessons, and they attacked us. So people who talk about enforcement have to understand it more broadly than the conversation usually leads to. Yes, we have to toughen border security, but we also have to toughen our checks on who's in the country and that they don't overstay whatever legal authority they were given to be here. But that is not the whole answer. We also have to figure out how we're going to have better enforcement with employers, how we're going to provide more funding to local communities and states to pay for law enforcement and health care, education, the other costs that they incur because of this broken immigration system. And we have to face up to the fact we have 12 to 14 million people here illegally. And we can ignore that, or we can come together and try to have comprehensive immigration reform, which is what I am. And I think that's the only answer to really getting our hands around this problem. I thought this has been good for the Democratic Party, and I think the excitement that we've seen in the states since the last couple of contests have been terrifically encouraging. Somebody just told me that more than 1 million Democrats, some of them changing parties, have registered in the last contest. So interested in participating, that's good for America. So we're going to go through these next contests. We're going to see where we end up, and we'll take stock of where we are after they finish.
Reporting that your husband is seizing a bigger role in the campaign. Is that true? And also, how do you respond to comments from leaders like Representative Clyburn? Because this is actually having a detrimental impact on.
I'm very proud of the role my husband is playing in the campaign, and I think it's very helpful to have the only successful two-term Democratic president since Franklin Roosevelt campaign. What voters know about me is that I have a long record of fighting for their interests, fighting for better jobs, fighting for health care, fighting for good schools, standing up and fighting for the future of the people who do the work in this country. I'm very proud of my record in New York. I'm proud of the support that I had from firefighters and police officers when I ran for re-election, because they saw for themselves that I'm not a fair weather friend. I'm there day in and day out. I will be there till, the end, in making sure that we have somebody in public life who's going to try to stand up for the middle class. So that's been my trademark. That's who I am. That's where I come from. And I believe that it's critical that we start to get back into balance in this country. The wealthy and the well-connected have had a president for 7 years. I think it's time we had a president for the hardworking middle-class families in America.